I started to find out more and more how, you know, these different people from these families and these bloodline families were in the CMP, and how it's generational. You know, you had Edgar and Elza Prince, the father of Eric Prince of Blackwater. They were two of the founding members of the Council for National Policy. And so they were doing things to advance the agenda of the right during the 1980s when Reagan was in. And then generationally, here comes their son in the decade that we're just now completing. And here comes their son, and he's continuing this agenda generationally, being the head of Blackwater and all this, you know, mass killing over in Iraq. I mean, this is how this stuff works. And then when you actually trace back those bloodlines and you actually see how those generations passed it on, you see how, you know, how these families have just passed the agenda on and on and on. And I know that we all know that. But when you really see it and you really understand it, and it really, you know, it's not just information you're hearing or something you're reading about, but when you get that moment of clarity where you actually realize, oh my God, this is real. This is, you know, this is not, I don't know, man. I mean, I think when I first got into this stuff when I was younger, I thought it was kind of cool. And I thought it was like, you know, ooh, you know, kind of spooky and kind of, ooh, you know, conspiracies. I think maybe all of us probably got into that like that at some point. But I mean, when it really hits home with you, and all of you may not have experienced this yet. And it took me a while to experience it, but when it really hits home to you how real this stuff is, man, it's not scary. It's just, it's mind blowing, because you're just like, you know, this is, how do you show the rest of the world this? Because it's so big and so wide scope reaching that even those of us that have wrapped our minds around this for years and years and years still get blown away and awestruck by just how gigantic the Ring of Power is. So that's one of the things where I think the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to continue to have our paradigms blown, or attempt to have them blown, or attempt to find new information and new pieces. Because if there's more of us out here who have, you know, seen all the ins and outs of this, because a lot of people, again, as I've talked about, a lot of people out there are getting stuck at phase 1 or 2 or 3, and they think that they know everything. I mean, that's how the majority of the truthers and people in patriot movements are, is they think that they know everything about everything, and they have no idea, because they can't see it and aren't being allowed to see it, that they don't know anything. And I thought I knew something when I first started on air. I thought I was, that's exactly where I was. I thought I knew, you know, I was like, you know what? I don't hear anybody on the radio show talking about any of the information I know. I'm starting a radio show. That was my whole thing. And, when you start to become, have a responsibility to perform and have new material and have a new show every day, it puts you in a position where you're forced to constantly research and learn more. And, you know, the sum total of my over 3 years on air now has led me to the conclusion that I don't know a damn thing. And that's fine. That's okay. But all that matters is that we continue to try to learn more, so that we have the ability to teach the rest of the people of the world what they need to know. You know, I mean, that's why it's important to know all the ins and outs of all these different groups and all this other stuff. You know, people always, and I used to get really frustrated because I would hear talk show radio hosts that I respected say things like, oh, we don't need to worry about, you know, the CMP or the Illuminati or all these groups. We just need to worry about how we're going to fix it and what we're going to do to get involved. And, you know, I never knew why I disagreed with that. When I used to hear people that I respected say that, I never really knew why I just knew that I disagreed with that. And now I know more and more why I disagree with that, because attempting to change something that you don't even have all the facts about, to me, sounds like suicide. And we just don't flat have all of the facts of everything that there is to know yet about the things that we are attempting to change. Now, granted, we have enough information to prove that what these people are doing is wrong and tyrannical and sick and murderous. We have enough to prove that. But we don't have enough. We just don't have flat enough information to know what the solution for this is yet, because we don't have all the facts. And I think we could all come a lot farther if we find ourselves admitting that. And admitting that it's bigger than we have any idea of. So I think that is it's something to think about. And I think that we all just have to start realizing that, what was it Robert Anton Wilson said? If you think you know what the hell's going on, you're probably full of shit. I mean, truer words have never been spoken. Yeah. If you think you know what the hell's going on, you're probably full of shit. Yeah, I would agree with that statement 100%. Anybody that says they know 100% what's going on, probably full of shit. Because it's a constantly changing, ever evolving thing. We're going to take a break, come back, and get into a bunch of news here for you tonight. This is the Wednesday, December 1st, 2010 edition of The Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network with me, your host, Josh Reeves. Stay with us.